Greetings and welcome to another Trippy Food Road Trip. Today we are in the city of Los Angeles, California, and we are here to check out Griffith Park. Griffith Park is a very underutilized area. Probably, I don't know how many people in LA have actually been to Griffith Park, but there's so much to see and do in here. The 4,000-acre municipal park is the 11th largest in the United States. In 1882, Griffith J. Griffith purchased this land, and it was called Rancho Las Feliz at the time, the Happies, go figure. And he started an ostrich farm, and in 1896, he donated 3,000 acres to the city of Los Angeles. Now, after his death in 1919, the city developed the land, adding the Greek Theater in 1930, Griffith Observatory in 1935, and as a result of donations and purchases by the city, the land was increased to the current size. Other attractions within the park: Ferndale Nature Preserve, the Trails Cafe, the Autry Museum of the West, Bronx Canyon, the LA Zoo, and the former Griffith Park Zoo, the Hollywood sign on Mount Lee, and Travel Town Museum. So we're going to check it out, and we're going to see what this park has to offer. All right, right now we're on, I guess you could consider it a trail. We're in Ferndale. The actual name is Ferndale Nature Museum. There's not a museum here. There's no building that you can go in or anything. So basically it's a half-mile trail that follows the path of a creek, and then there's various ponds along the way on that trail. And it's just very green space in the city of LA where you can kind of forget that you're in LA. Most of the trees and plants were planted in the 1910s, and in the 1930s, the Civilian Conservation Corps created the trails and structures. The ponds and creeks are home to red-eared sliders, which are turtles, crayfish, several varieties of fish and mollusks, but none of them are native to the area. So it's very dog-friendly, which is why we have Doodle, the Prince of Dogness, with us today. And we're just going to walk up the trail, this half-mile trail, and take in its beauty in the middle of the city of Los Angeles. At the top of the trail, there's a nice little picnic area. I don't know how long this has been around, but it's all picnic tables. There's actually some grills here too. Once you get past the picnic areas, there's access to trails, and some of those trails will go up to the observatory, the behind the Hollywood sign. So the park is just full of trails, and we'll cover that a little bit later. So when you're walking the trails and you get hungry, where do you go? Well, you go to the Trails Cafe. So it's right at the top of the Ferndale Trail. So right when it comes out to the big kind of picnic area, places where they have grills and stuff. And so this place has been here, well, not too long. It's only been here since about 2005. So it was opened by Frank Lentz and Mickey Petralia, and it was an empty concession stand, city-owned concession stand that served burgers. And the original menu was designed by Aaron Spursky, but recently they've had pastry chef Jenny Park come in, and so she is also a co-owner, and she changed up the menu. So it's a lot of baked goods, and a lot of stuff is baked on the premises. They have some sandwiches, a few sandwiches as well, and they have hot beverages, cold beverages, stuff like that. But it's just this cute little shack where you can come and have lunch. So we decided we're going to try something interesting, and obviously you have to get a baked good. So we got something called an egg in a basket. So it's made with egg. There's chive and pesto. It's a nut-free pesto. I don't know, like who puts nuts in pesto anyways, but it's a nut-free pesto. And then I thought this was interesting. It's a lavender shortbread. And then just your basic black coffee. So, something to caffeinate you when you're hiking the trail. So let's try this now. I'm going to try the quiche first. I want to make sure it's not wrapped in paper or something. It doesn't look like it. It's like a piece of bread on the bottom there, a piece of wheat bread on the bottom there, and it's kind of baked into that. It's kind of cool. Let's give this a shot. Oh, look at that. Got an egg yolk staring me in the face. So it's like a whole egg. They just dropped a whole egg in there. Just baked it as is. Cheers. That's nice. Very similar to what we used to call them as kids, egg in a hat. It's basically take a piece of bread, put it in a frying pan, and you take a glass, you cut a hole in it, and just drop the egg in there. This is very similar. A little bit more savory though. They're really good. And I know it's dessert, but I'm going to take a bite of this anyways. This fascinated me because I like shortbread, but this is lavender shortbread. It's a really nice smell. I see the squirrels around me. They're kind of amassing for an attack, but we'll see. That's really good too. So, I'm going to sit here and have my pseudo lunch, then see what else we can find in Griffith Park. You can see those trails down below where those poor, dumb, stupid suckers have to walk all the way. Oh wait, that's me. Okay, we're right now at one of the most famous observatories in the United States, probably the world. We're at Griffith Observatory, top of the trails. If you decide to drive up here, remember that things have changed and you can no longer park at the top, and you can no longer park for free. It's like $10 an hour, so just so that you know. And so we are above Griffith Park on Mount Hollywood. And I know it's weird because the Hollywood sign, you would think that's on Mount Hollywood. It's actually Mount Lee. I don't know if you can see behind me, to the left and to the right, there's a very large telescope. So one of those is a 12-inch telescope. They let the public look through that for free every year. Now, the view up here is spectacular, and the view of Los Angeles is really good. Normally, when it's not a cloudy and slightly rainy day, it's usually a pretty good view. But we're going to check it out anyways. On normal days, this is a spectacular view. Today, not so much, but you do get the very, very rare glimpse of Los Angeles on a rainy day. So you can tell by this view how smoggy LA actually is. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's not smoggy, it's rain. Yeah, that's kind of rare. Griffith J. Griffith left funds and plans in his will in 1919 for the observatory, but construction began as a works progress administration project in 1933. It opened in 1935. But between 2002 and 2006, it went through a massive renovation, and it's once again open to the public. So let's go in and check it out. So normally there's stairs on either side that take you up to where the telescopes are, and the public can view the telescopes. It's just today they're closed, probably because of the weather. Not that you'd be able to see anything anyway. And this is the observatory's Foucault pendulum, and this was installed at the time when the observatory opened.
I stayed in a couple of places here, was set up in 1841 in Paris by somebody with the last name Foucault. That's why they're all called Foucault pendulums. And the purpose of them is to let us know that the planet is moving. Now we already know that because we know how the solar system works and how our planet moves, right? You can imagine our planet is turning on its own axis, it's rotating, but that involves two movements. One of them is just speed, the other one is twist of the ground. So everyone right now, we're all moving in that direction at about 800 miles per hour, right? We don't feel that? But that's not what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here is the ground actually very slowly twisting. That is, we've chosen that as a point of reference. The ground is moving very slowly in this direction, counterclockwise.
Okay, so this is really humbling. So this is an example of stars, and so the red one, the big blue one, the big yellow one, those aren't ours. So our star is the sun. So let's see if we can get in closer. Yeah, that little dot, that's us. Kind of humbling, isn't it? There's a wall of exhibits on meteors and meteorites, and they have actual examples of both, and some very famous ones. I remember when I was a kid looking in Life magazine, there was a picture of a woman laying in her bed, this big huge bruise on the side of her that was caused when a meteorite came through her house. So this is pretty cool. This is a fragment of the meteor that caused Meteor Crater in Arizona. So that's a mile across, the crater's a mile across. Still there, you can visit it today. Okay, so here's a model of the planetarium. And that big dome, that's where you'd sit and lean back and watch the stars like James Dean did. This device here is not a model. This is actually the projector that they used in the planetarium from 1964 until 2002. Okay, so this is the Leonard Nimoy Event Horizon Theater. So, I want you to note the color of the walls, how it's lit up, and the kind of basic shape where it's curved. It's going to be important. Here's why that example of the Leonard Nimoy Event Horizon Theater was important, because if you can see it down the end, it represents the sun with all the planets lined up in order. So we're at the end of the planets, and Pluto, which I guess is still somewhat considered a planet, that's down the end. Right, that little tiny dot. Right there. This probably gives you a better idea of the sun, or the size of the sun compared to the planets. So that's the purpose that theater serves. I mean, hell, look how little we are. If you look really carefully at Saturn, you can see the seam where the rings were created.
What's your favorite planet? Mine's the sun.
All right, well, I'm sitting here with Albert Einstein right now, and the reason that this statue of Albert Einstein is here is not because he wants you to pull his finger. It's that he's looking at the point on the end of his finger, and he's looking up into the sky. And so when you look at the background here, which is a bunch of tiles all put together of a small section of the sky, that section of the sky with all those stars, millions of light years across, represents just the amount of space that you'll see just looking at that tip of your finger. So that it just kind of gives you an idea of the vastness of the universe. Here's a seismograph. I bet that gets used a lot here. Here's a cool model of the moon. Now, I know they talk about the dark side of the moon. It's not really dark because it sees sunlight. It's just that it's dark to us because we never get to see the far side. Oh yeah, here's the moon rock. Okay, here's your gift shop. And here's your cafe. It's a cafe. Okay, here's something that's overlooked at Griffith Observatory. This tree right behind me, this one right here, this little one, they call it the George Harrison tree. It's a memorial tree, or they call it a heritage tree. And it was placed here after his death, so as a memorial. A lot of people don't realize that George Harrison, his memorial services were actually held in the LA area. He had a lot of association with the LA area, so this tree was erected after his death as a memorial for him at the end of the parking lot. So, when you come to check out the Griffith Observatory, don't forget to look at the tree. And here's a bust of James Dean in the shadow of the Hollywood sign over on Mount Lee. It's time to say goodbye to James Dean because we're moving on to see what else we can find in Griffith Park. Well, it's hard to believe that we've showed you everything that there is to do in Griffith Park here in Los Angeles. It's hard to believe because it's not true. There's just so much to do, we just couldn't fit it all in one segment. So, stay tuned and we're going to bring you part two of our Griffith Park road trip here on Trippy Food. But remember that it's crazy out there, so please take care of yourselves, take care of others, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for checking out Trippy Food. If you enjoyed watching that video half as much as I did making it, well then I enjoyed it twice as much as you did. And if that's the case, you'll probably like this video right here. And if not, check out this video right here. That one's a little bit different. Either way, leave a comment down below. And be sure to subscribe by clicking on the Trippy Food icon right here. Glad you could make it, and we hope to see you again soon.